Of course, I'll urge you to be interactive as we deliberate on a very important matter this afternoon. You heard here on the pulse. Of course, it's fire. So we'll start from Parliament. The minority in Parliament is challenging government to adopt the MPP special initiative of purchasing ambulances for all constituencies across the country and also do same for the Ghana National Fire Service. The call comes on the back of rising number of fire disasters across the country. We'll hear from the minority soon, but first let me take you to Kumasi, where fire has destroyed a 13-bedroom house and property of inhabitants in the Forikrom Gasline community in the Ashanti region.
Who say I'm off with teaching and I see a jack to a dynamo. I bet sure not G a dynamo. I feel any area boys, any I'm a from Nipa Bibre, every boy. The two had Mugula in Suedu and sign a fire service for every grass.
We had a lot of people helping before the fire service arrived.
What was I on protecting never house mina?
The fire really brought down all the structures. It nearly extended to the next house.
For
now, I can say everything in the house is gone. We were fortunate that the kids here had gone to school at the time the fire started.
Man sampa bo akra me kan am de fridge mo de beduru ha ane se me ba ha so no de da nya me ase wotimi afabi.
They couldn't pick anything from their rooms. It's painful for a family to lose their fortune in a single day. How are they going to survive?
Although million is in sika wa dem ho e bia nya ono ko bi sika wa dem e bia na do mu bedi kra ye de mo mo ene me nso ne mo mu ayede na we ya to mo de fa he.
And so that is the situation in Kumasi. Very unfortunate development on this matter of fire. Now, back here in Accra, residents of Kisiman are devastated after a fire incident claimed the life of a 4-month-old baby and displaced many more in this report.
Not her real name. It's a relative of the mother who lost her 4-month-old baby to the inferno early this morning.
It's not easy for us, but it is in God's will for this to happen. Early this morning, a friend of mine called to ask about my whereabouts. She then proceeded to tell me to rush to my sister's residence, saying that my sister's child had been burned in the kiosk. I rushed there, only to find out it was true. The child was burned beyond recognition. We have collected the remains and are preparing for burial.
It's a heartbreaking moment and a wrenching one as such for residents here at the Ayawaso West constituency, where a mother of a 4-month-old baby lost her child. Mahama, a resident, explains to me that he had to run out of his house with a trouser and no slipper as a result of the fire.
I be baba for here. This is my place. Where my everything. Where I get my shop for here. Where my room do the back. Machine everything bent down. Where I think I know that anything. Where at this zero. This one be my uncle dress so I go take. So I shock. I don't know how to take by myself. Where run on fee. Night catch. I don't know where I go sleep safe. Where I don't know. That that thing where they must stabilize be that. I be baba. We be that. Be very expensive. If you no get that one, you are not a baba. You no get shop. Yeah, that you take clock yourself with your lances. With the lances, everything bent down.
Bernice, a student, explains she lost all her clothing and money necessary for her semester's upkeep.
So when I was sleeping around 3:30, my alarm rang. So I waked up and I said, "Oh, it's too late. Let me sleep." So in a space of like 10 to 15 minutes, I heard shouting outside. So I was looking for my phone. There was no light in the room to come out. So immediately I found my phone. Then I saw that the place was yellow. All the place was yellow. So immediately I stepped out from the container. Then the fire came to where I was staying, because it started from where I was. I need to go to school. All my money in the room is finished. Now here I am now. I don't have even one dress to wear for lectures this month. I don't have to. Now I have to go to the school and go and explain. This dress I'm wearing, a friend gave it to me now.
We catch up with Alex Kinaldi, Public Relations Officer for the Ghana National Fire Service.
The cause is obviously an investigation. There are preliminary findings, or in the course of our investigations, there are information that we gather. So, per the information that we've gathered, which we are yet to substantiate after the investigations, it points to the fact that the mother of the burnt child was quite negligent. She had left her gas cylinder on, and had unknowingly, probably due to the fact that she was under the influence of alcohol, put on the candle and then put on the coil. These are things that when they come into contact with the gas can easily start a fire and an explosion. So that is what indications are pointing to have been the cause of the fire. There is no intelligence system that alerts the Ghana National Fire Service of a fire until you call on us. So it depends on the time they called on us. And then also the fact that we've bemoaned the lack of fire stations in communities. Look at the whole big community like Kiseman, Christian Village, Dome Kwabinya. There's no single fire station there. And so when the fire happened, we had to call on a fire tender from University of Ghana, and then Abiling to go there to fight the fire. So we did, after we received the call, within 10 minutes we got there. But I think once we have a fire station within the community, in the future our response time will be much shorter.
The trauma is so huge, with many of the residents counting their losses. The Ghana National Fire Service says investigations are ongoing to ascertain the cause of the fire. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Stephen Mensah.
So we will follow through this and get to the latest on investigations on this matter. But according to the Ghana National Fire Service, what they've gathered so far may be pointing to negligence on the part of the mother of the 4-month-old baby that got burnt in the fire. But the challenge for a lot of people out there, for example, those we heard, the students and the barber, everything they owe is gone. And for that reason, life becomes very difficult in an environment where insurance for such entities is nothing to write home about. They are virtually left on their own. But let's stay on this, because on the back of these fires, the minority in Parliament is charging government to adopt the MPP's special initiative of purchasing ambulances for each constituency across the country, as it was done for the ambulances, and do the same for the Ghana National Fire Service. The Ghana National Fire Service has repeatedly raised concerns about 40 fire tenders hindering its ability to respond effectively to emergencies. Addressing journalists in Parliament, the MPP Member of Parliament for Forikro, Mike Edu, emphasized that equipping every district with a functioning fire tender will significantly enhance the fire service preparedness and ability to tackle outbreaks nationwide.
I believe we are doing a lot of lip service. We are doing a lot of lip service because if you look at the damage to our environment, you go to places and you see the way we burn things. People, you live next door and your neighbor is burning things into the atmosphere without consent to the neighborhood, without consent to the environment. You visit places and people still engage in bushfire burning. You go to villages and people want to go and catch game, and then they will still burn the forest. Devastation being caused by galamsey, devastation being caused by farming, our grasslands being devastated by fire, and so on. And then when you come to our communities, I feel some of these climate extremes that are going on, as a country, we've not put so much budget to it. How do we equip the National Disaster Management Organizations like NADMO? How do we equip the fire service? How many fire tenders are in the country? I know we are developing as a nation. There was a point in time where we didn't even have enough ambulances. Due to government efforts, we were able to procure enough ambulances. So in the same way, we have to take action and consciously get budgetary allocation for the fire service.
Well, the minority also does not believe successive governments have done enough to deal with market fires and other such outbreaks across the country.
these things are going against the nation, and it counts into billions of cedis when you quantify everything together. So today's statement was to stress on the point. I've seen from the Hansa that a lot of statements have been made on fire, but we've gotten to the point that as Parliament, as a government, as a country, we need to look at the holistic approach that can nip it in the bud once and for all. For instance, our markets. Are we going to put fire tenders close by? Are we going to create special fire hydrants that will supply water to the market so that in case there is a fire outbreak, the fire service can get easy access to water to be able to quench the fire so that the losses will be minimal or reduced? For instance, what are we going to do about insurance for some of these our markets so that when there is fire outbreak, people will not lose everything altogether?
All right, so let me bring in a public safety advocate, Nana Ano Ami here. Nana Ano, good afternoon and welcome to the Pulse.
Good afternoon. My name is Nana Ano Ami here the second.
Great. Nana Ano Ami here the second. Good afternoon. So do you think that one district, one tender proposal that the MPP group in Parliament is advocating will be the best way to address the lack of equipment challenge that is facing the Ghana National Fire Service?
Well, let me say good afternoon to your terrorist viewers, your listeners. Now, we always have, what do you call it, ad hoc solutions to problems that are permanent problems. Now, to start with, those who are in a crowd that have fire tenders, how long does it take for a fire tender to attend to a fire when they are called upon? How long does it take? It takes over 2 hours, doesn't it?
Yes.
Has that problem been solved? If you bring in these fire tenders that are being proposed at one district, one fire tender, and you don't have the wherewithal and the measures in place to be able to utilize them appropriately, what will be the need for you to have one district, one fire tender?
And what measures are you talking about, sir?
The preventive measures. Fire do not happen. They are caused. Fire doesn't happen. They are caused. And if they are caused, there are preventive measures that are put in place to deal with them. For instance, we have something that we call incipient fire. That is stage 1 fire. In the stage 1 fire, we use fire extinguishers. The essence of having fire extinguishers are to extinguish incipient fire when they occur.
Right.
But if you leave the fires to go out of control, that's where you require fire tenders. And these traditional fire tenders that you see around, these huge ones, they're very difficult to maneuver the narrow streets that we have in the urban areas and even in rural areas. So what is the need of going to buy one district, one fire tender? What would they need if they cannot be appropriately used?
So it may not be feasible as far as you are concerned. We need to deal with the underlying issues first before we talk about preventing it.
Yes, so, we have to put preventive measures in place to avoid the fires occurring in the first place. But when they do occur, that is when you need to put all these fire tenders. Because when the incipient fire gets out of control, that's where you call upon the fire service to come and attend to the fire. And then the basic thing that the fire service, the fire service personnel require to protect themselves, to be able to attend to fire when they are called upon, are not available. Basic nose mask that fire service. Have you seen fire service officers going to put out fire? Have you seen them in operation in Ghana?
I mean, not so much.
Yeah, but they don't have the basic personal protection equipment when they're going to attend to fire. So how do you get this fire service to be effective? We're just playing at everything that has to do with the safety. we don't pay particular attention to safety. The safety of the fire officer in the first place must be guaranteed before they go to put themselves at risk to attend to fire. And what I would suggest is that the one district, one fire attendant.
Right.
But we've moved away from the one district, one fire attendant. We have these days, you have many fire attendants that will do the job instead of going to buy the professional, huge fire attendants that we have when you call them and you have to go through narrow streets and even, houses where they have to go and put out fire. The basic that every house must have a minimum 3 meters clearance from the wall. Look around. How do you invite fire service to a site or where fire is engulfing the building and there will be no space for them to maneuver? There are so many things that, I don't know, Ghana Fire Service, what they are doing, that for a building to be cleared for occupation, they should meet the basic requirements, safety standards requirements of Ghana Fire Service. All those things are non-existent. So what is the need going to deploy this one fire center, one district, and they cannot be used appropriately?
But on the other side of this conversation, Anna, is the fact that even as you talk about basic things that must be done that are not, available, and that's obviously will impact on the effectiveness of the Ghana National Fire Service. There's also the point about whether or not, as a country, preventing and fighting fire is a priority. I mean, I'm looking at this right information request that we sent to the Ghana National Fire Service last year, November, and the response that we got that the country has only 248 fire tenders to manage a population of 30.8 million. The report reviewed that out of the 248 fire tenders, only 156 are functioning, whilst a total of 133 are out of commission in various regions. And the fire service themselves came to make the point that, for example, if you are to travel from Accra to Kumasi, all the way from Nkoko to Konongo, you wouldn't find any fire tender on that stretch to deal with an emergency situation. The Ghana National Fire Service share war, if you like. There's only a road separating them and the Ghana Police Service. Almost every quarter, there's a presentation to the Ghana Police Service. You will hardly find same being done for the National Fire Service. So it begs the question whether, as a country, in terms of our priority and the seriousness we attach to the other sectors like fire service, we are on top of it, or we just pray that fire doesn't occur so that fire service now become redundant.
Elton.
Yes.
We can go round and round and round with the issue, but we really need to look at the overall. We don't need to just look at the problem in silence. We need to look at the whole fire service arrangement that we have at the moment.
Right.
And in areas where they have these fire attendants, when they need them for emergency, they are not functioning. So I would suggest that we go in for. I would suggest that
we seem to be losing you there, Nana.
Yes.
Yes, I can.
What I'm saying is that we need to have a complete overhaul of the Ghana Fire Service, so that we look at the base, we bring it down to the basics. So at the moment, the huge fire tenders that you see are out of vote, and you need to get modern mobile fire tenders that you can put 2 or 3 in a district, in towns, and what have you, even in Accra. Right. Look at Kantamanto. If you want to maneuver one of these huge fire tenders, where can they access to go and put out fire? All the roads are blocked. And if you come down to my village, where you don't have, lanes and trees, and people are building their shop to the curb of the road.
Right.
There's no room for maneuvering. So we really need to look at what pertains these days, the modern technology that we can use to put out fire. But in the main, you must look at preventive measures that you should put in place to avoid the fire happening in the first place.
And this will be my final question, though. I mean, I'm just trying to pick your mind on this. That even in the advanced country like the United States of America, look at how long it took them to battle the LA fire, and then some will say that sometimes we are over flogging the Ghana National Fire Service.
Well, you see, we compare apples with apples, not apples with oranges. You see, most times we tend to look at the advanced countries like the United States of America, you have this one. But you see, we must look at certain things in the modern times into leapfrog technology. The Americans, they have procured all these huge fire tenders, which means they have the infrastructure for them to be used effectively. But if we bring it down to our
own setting,
you cannot compare ourselves with America. But that was what I was saying earlier, that if you don't get a fire tender to come, if you call one to come to attend to an out-of-control fire, it takes about 2 hours for them to arrive. By the time they get there, the whole thing has, the whole building or what have you, have been demolished, have been scattered by fire. So let's look at mobile, mini fire tenders that can be utilized effectively. That's basically what I'm saying.
All right, let's leave it here.
We need to do a proper audit to see what will fit into our local settings, rather than looking after the developed world.
All right, we'll leave it. Nana, I know I'm here the second for your talks on this very unfortunate story that we are reporting this afternoon. I mean, there's been fire outbreaks in some parts of the country. The last one that resulted in the burning beyond recognition of a 4-month-old baby. And according to the Ghana National Fire Service, even though they are yet to conclude investigations on what may have triggered the fire, their prelims suggest that the mother of the baby may have put on gas and then candle at the same time. They claim that she was under the influence of alcohol, and then, the fire started, consumed the baby in the process, spread to other areas, resulting in the destruction to property, and some people have lost money and other things that obviously they would have relied on for their lives going forward. But in the Ghana National Fire Service, they are still continuing with their investigation. We'll follow through and bring you more on this matter. Let's move away from fire and talk about cocoa. Because when cocoa coughs, Ghana's economy catches a cold. In 2024, global cocoa prices surged by a record 157%. However, joint news checks based on data from the Bank of Ghana revealed that despite this price boom, the country recorded its lowest cocoa export revenue in 15 years, just $1.7 billion. Illegal mining activities, smuggling, and other production challenges prevented Ghana from fully benefiting from the rolling market. Now, Joy News lead research data analyst Isaac Kofi Ajay has been analyzing the numbers and joins me with more in the studio. So, Kofi, what have you gathered on this rather not exciting news this afternoon, just for the fact that cocoa is our mainstay?
Well, so if you look at the Ghanaian economy, what you realize is that cocoa is the main backbone of the economy. Why do we say so? In terms of the three big foreign exchange earners like gold, oil, and cocoa, it is only cocoa that we can boldly say that we get more than 90% of whatever we export. We all know the story with gold. Revenues or export revenues may hit $11.7 billion, but we only get about 15 to 10% of that revenue. Same with oil. The arrangement isn't that different when you compare that to gold. But the story is different when it comes to cocoa because this is the main backbone of the economy. And the data we have analyzed so far shows that the threshold or the benchmark revenue or export revenue has never gone below, $2 billion since 2010. This is the first time in 15 years that we are seeing that very low figure you see on the smartwatch, $1.7 billion, compared to what we recorded in 2023, that was around $2.1 billion.
So let me ask before you go for it. So this 2.1, for example, the 2023 revenue of 2.1 billion, it doesn't include the syndicated loan we took before.
No, it doesn't include the syndicated loan. This is a total export. Right. So if you look at the beans we produce in that season, and we exported, what did we get, or what did the Bank of Ghana track? According to the Bank of Ghana, this was the total exports revenue that we gained from cocoa in 2023. We know that the syndicated loan arrangement is supposed to help with the purchasing and running of cocoa board. I mean, that is what they use in purchasing the cocoa beans and all of that. And in fact, it's good you brought in the cocoa syndicated loan, because we know, and just like you put it right, 157% boom in the, rally in the cocoa, the global cocoa price. But the reason why we could not take advantage is that we do what we call forward sales. So before we can get the syndicated loan, which usually hovers around $1 to $3 billion every year, and over the years we've not even been able to get more than $1 billion. We sell the cocoa in advance, get that money to come and support the city. And whatever that goes on in the market, we are blind to that, what goes on in the international capital market.
So therefore, at the time that cocoa price on the world market was going higher, we didn't have beans to sell.
No. We actually sold our beans in the forward sales. I mean, when prices were around 11,000, we had agreed on the forward sale price, an FOB price of somewhere, I think slightly above $2,000, right? Wow. Because we wanted to lock in and benchmark or hedge. But unfortunately, we didn't know what was going to happen in the global space.
Is it a case that maybe scarcity of the product may have driven the price to hit the over $10,000 mark that we witnessed last year?
And what you're saying is the right thing. We know that Ghana and Ivory Coast combined control or account for about 60% of the global cocoa production. And we all know what is happening in both countries, the El Nino disease and the soil issue disease and other factors cause it. But when you come to Ghana, it has a peculiar situation where illegal mining, and I mean, getting to the last end of the presentation, I'll show you the contrast between gold revenue and cocoa revenue. You will know that there is a complete trade-off between the two. Now we are focusing, the more we focus on cocoa, on gold, the more we lose on the more we focus on cocoa, the more we lose on gold. Now, this for me will tell the story proper when we decide to look at the whole analysis on the trend. I mean, if you look at the trend, for instance, what you will see is that the story, just like we are trying to paint, is that this is the lowest in the last 15 years. The last time we recorded any price around this was somewhere 2009 or 2010. And we are back to this level where we never wanted to be. And in 2022, 2021, we saw how cocoa prices or cocoa revenues went as high as $2.8 billion. Now we are talking about less than $2 billion, and at Joy News research that we projected that the year was
over $1.1 billion off.
It's gone. I mean, and we know the factors. Illegal mining, we've spoken about it, but when you bring it down onto the doorstep of smuggling, that is when you will know that every year, for instance, we lose close to about 150,000 tons of our cocoa that we produce in the country to smuggling. You quantify it and you see how that is also having a toll on the number there. So this is our production. Sometime in 2021, and we know that's when we had the record $2.8 billion,
And this is coming from COVID, actually.
Exactly. This was 2021 season. According to Cocoa Board, this was when we had our best in the last decade. If you look at it, we were able to produce more than 1 million tons of cocoa beans in that year. Just after that, what we are seeing is that, look, there's a decline. And we decided to try and understand the reason behind this 2021. We know that was COVID. And so a lot of people were staying home. Illegal mining wasn't really big around that time.
They didn't go to work.
Exactly.
Cocoa farmers
had a breathing space.
Exactly.
But right after, the lockdown and other things, we started coming back to normalcy. We saw that their impact and smuggling activities. Also, when you have your borders closed, it means that it will be difficult for anybody to smuggle it through. So that is why we saw that high, production or record, over 1 million tons in 2020, 2021. But over the years, we've seen our smoothness level when you factor in smuggling and illegal mining. And now we are talking about somewhere 550,000 tons. And this is very, very bad. You compare it to what we were doing even in 2017, 2018, and 2019. That tells you why we certainly will be suffering around this time, just getting about $1.7 billion from cocoa revenue. Now you compare Ghana to Cote d'Ivoire. Yeah, exactly.
We share a border.
And we share a border. And when it comes to the global cocoa geopolitics, you can never have a smooth conversation without bringing together these two countries in the equation. But even when we are all falling, we still see Ivory Coast going ahead to produce about the 1 million metric ton, level, where we are still hovering around 500,000, tons.
So what really are they doing right that we seem to be getting it wrong?
So I think that when we try to get...
Or there's no galamsey in Ivory Coast?
Well, there's no galamsey in Ivory Coast as it is in Ghana. I mean, the gravity is different. The center of gravity to all of this huge gap we are seeing between Ghana and Ivory Coast has to do with the regulation. Ghana's cocoa purchase is highly regulated, where Cocoa Board is the only entity that has, that legal right to buy and sell cocoa beans. I know there are other, private organizations who sometimes come in to also help. But what we understand that there's actually flexibility in Ivory Coast more than there is in Ghana. So what happens is that in Ghana, when Cocoa Board decides to increase the price per bag of cocoa, and they struggle to get a syndicated loan market, it means that they will be late in going to the farms to go and get the cocoa beans. And over this, Christmas, I was in the Ashanti region, spent about 7 days in some of the cocoa farms around Lake Bosomtwe.
Okay.
And then you will see that there were farmers who had actually sold their cocoa beans and were waiting for payment from government. And they go to, district capitals like Bekwa and Esiwa, and they tell them that, we cannot pay you at the moment. A binding fast, can buy. Right. So that tells you that when all of these things happen, it opens space for smuggling, because farmers are also aware that if government is paying me, let's say 3,000 cedis, and there's a middleman or there's a black market somewhere that will offer me 6,000 cedis, I'll definitely will go and sell to that black market. So regulation is a key thing here. Galamsey activities as well as other, factors. Now, this is what I was talking about, Elton, comparing cocoa revenue, export revenue, and gold.
And it is a daylight. I mean,
it's true.
The difference is clear daylight between the two. $11.6 billion and $1.7 billion.
And before we even started this whole conversation, we said that cocoa is the backbone of the economy because we get about 90% of whatever we export. For gold, we only get about 15% or 10%.
And gold, I'm thinking most of them come from taxes and royalties that these companies pay.
Exactly.
Because most of the leading gold companies are foreign owned.
And they actually export everything, and sometimes the amount they even surrender to the Bank of Ghana is less than $1 billion.
And here's we also have undocumented sale of gold to countries
in excess
like
of $2 billion almost every year.
It doesn't
right?
go through the system, especially from the small scale sector.
Yeah, I'm sure that is the reason why the current government, I'm sure they've seen this curve. That's why they want to regulate the gold system like the way we have for Cocoa Board. So we have Gold Board.
Right.
We see how that one will pan out. But this graphic actually shows that there's a big trade-off between cocoa and gold. The more we get revenue from gold, the more our cocoa is also dwindling. So we have to find a way to solve that situation. That tells you that galamsey is at work and really affecting the amounts we get from, cocoa exports.
All right, Kofi, thank you so much for that beautiful work. Let me bring in Professor John Gachi. He's an economist. Prof, this is troubling. I mean, the mainstay of the Ghanaian economy, cocoa, is not bringing in the needed revenue. The reason not far from us, galamsey, smuggling, and other things that may be related to the climate, if you like. But to what extent should I be worried about what I'm seeing today?
Well, what you are discussing borders on revenue, borders on forest, and it has a lot of implications for fiscal management in the country. It has implications for even the Cocoa Board, its intervention activities in the production process and in social development in cocoa growing areas. So the implication is vast. But I just want to indicate an earlier comment made by your colleague in the studio.
Right.
Normally, the approach to transactions in cocoa is supposed to hedge the interest of the economy. So I don't know what has happened in a few years past, but what I am aware of and familiar with is that Cocoa Board and Cocoa Marketing Company, in their engagement with international partners, there is a percentage of cocoa that is traded forward. Right. And that a percentage that is kept to participate in the spot market. So if the forward price is favorable, then it's to our advantage.
Exactly.
And if the forward price is not favorable and the spot price is favorable, we still have some percentage of the cocoa to participate in the spot market to gain the current market price.
Right.
So if that arrangement has changed, then that is unfortunate. That takes away the proper management of hedging strategy that we have adopted for the cocoa sector. So again, if you don't produce, you cannot put so much on the market. So we need to deal with the issue regarding production, Galamsey, as mentioned earlier on.
Right.
Then we need to keep up the interest in farmers so that they cannot easily be trading off their farms in the interest of Galamsey or in Galamsey activities. So those are the things that we need to do. We need to give a competitive price, bearing in mind that all the neighboring countries, I think to the east and to the west, I think, Ivory Coast and then Togo, they are all cocoa producing countries, even though not at the scale that Ghana does in terms of Togo. But so long as the price is not competitive here, people would definitely gravitate towards the prices favorable. And that is where smuggling is thriving, and therefore which a huge chunk of cocoa is traded toward the smuggling outfit. So we need to collectively deal with all these things to ensure we benefit from cocoa as the case is.
Yes, exactly. And you've made a fantastic point about the price of cocoa now on the world market is huge. And somebody will look at it and say that this presents an opportunity for Ghana and indeed Ivory Coast to exploit and take full advantage of. Ghana and Ivory Coast combined, we produce over 60% of the world's demand. Yet, even as price is so high on the world market, because we've done forward sales, we are not benefiting from it. What can we do such that we are in a position where we can determine the prices and that we know to our advantage, knowing very well that if there is scarcity in the system, price will go up. And when we have 60% of production advantage, we should be in a position to determine how this will be done.
Yeah, that is true. But I believe that we have differences all the time. We have different fiscal needs that direct us what to do, and that may not be in the interest of Côte d'Ivoire at that particular moment. So even though there have been attempts by ensuring that Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana fight a common cause to achieve what you are discussing, but I believe until we get to a point that we align out some of our fiscal needs, that will not happen.
But Prof, in terms of economic advantage, I mean, shouldn't we work such that we'll be able to remove the bottlenecks? Because if oil, the OPEC, countries have been able to do it to the extent that they are able to drive prices with cut in production. I mean, for want of a better word, common sense should tell us that we should work together to achieve common aim.
Yeah, I believe the countries that are at the forefront of OPEC, and the arrangement they have. That is why Nigeria Ghana is a producer, of course, of lower scale. Doesn't influence the OPEC community. So we have certain countries within the OPEC society. And you look at the economic structure is designed in a particular way, as opposed to Venezuela and the rest. So the way you arrange your economy, the way you arrange your policies, depends on what you are going to get out of it. So as I'm saying, there are differences in fiscal orientation, there are differences in political arrangements, there are differences in economic arrangements. That is making it difficult for Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire to start a common cause, even though they talk about it, but it's not going the way we ought to go. But we need to shut out all those things and focus on what will help the two nations become a leader and will impact positively on our economy. So what you say is true. We need to chart a common course to achieve that. But that one is left in the hands of the managers of the two economies.
And finally, before I let you go, I mean, from hitting 1 million tons in the 2020 and 21 crop season to now doing a little over 500,000 in 2024, that is unacceptable. But how do we turn the scale? Knowing very well that the factors that is making it difficult for us to hit, good targets are quite clear to us. Galamsey, we've lost the fight against Galamsey. Smuggling is still ongoing. The last Minister for Food and Agriculture promised to deal with it. Clearly, he was unsuccessful. Climate change, we may not have control over it. But the ones that we may have control over, illegal mining and smuggling, how do we deal with it? And what do we expect from the new management headed by Professor Randy Abe, who obviously has not had any direct links with cocoa production, cocoa board, and how things are. I mean, the more we know of him, relates to, media and communication and sports.
I think you need to take away that from the equation. What is necessary now is that cocoa board needs internal reforms that will align with the reality of the industry. Then secondly, we need to stop Galamsey. That is as easy as anything. We need to stop Galamsey. That is the way forward. Then we need to align our prices to attract our farmers. So if we don't do that, the farmers should not be seeing cocoa board as a conduit for cheating. The farmers should see cocoa board as prioritizing their interests, as giving them competitive prices, as making them to ensure that they produce to their maximum capacity in the interest of the economy and in the interest of their pockets and for their family. So these are the things that we need to be doing to revive the cocoa sector in order to maximize the benefit from the cocoa sector for the economy.
All right, Prof, thank you so much. But before you go, let me just find out how is it going with plans to organize the first National Economic Dialogue?
Well, the plan is ongoing, and the committee will, in due course, give out a press conference, a press release as to its activities and what is going on. So that's what I can say. I cannot speak for the committee, but that's what I can say for now.
Right. All right, thank you so much. Prof, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much. And remember, Professor John Gachip is an economist, and we've been talking about cocoa. One other issue that we are keeping an eye on is President John Mahama's thank you tour. He took him to the Western region yesterday. Today he is in the Central region, and he will be speaking shortly. And we'll take you live to Cape Coast to hear him speak on the tour. We can listen in as President address folks in the Central Regional Capital, Cape Coast.
Regional House of Chiefs, Your Majesty Osa Berima Dr. Kwesi Atta II, Ogwa Manhene, Your Majesties are traditional rulers. So many of you have turned out today. I acknowledge you and thank you for the honor done us in joining us at this function. Our queen mothers, my mothers, you are looking so beautiful this afternoon. I thank you all for coming to honor your son at this beautiful function. The Catholic Archbishop of Cape Coast, the Most Reverend Charles Gabriel Palmer Buckle, our leaders, religious leaders, pastors, imams, our regional chief imam and members of the Muslim community, our Serkin Zongo, all our paramount chiefs and paramount queen mothers, residents of Central Region, residents of Cape Coast, Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, Ministers of State, Members of Parliament, Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast and his team, Metropolitan, Municipal and District Coordinating Directors, heads of departments, political party executives, good people of the Central Region, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I wish you all a very good afternoon. It is with profound humility and gratitude that I stand before you today as we continue our collective journey towards progress and unity of our beloved nation. Today marks a significant moment in our history. As I address you during this thank you tour, following my election as the President of the Republic of Ghana and our swearing in Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman as the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. Minyanum muhuye hande yenkura no bone. Ade a yede bay ene aseda. Yaba say yabeda Central Region fo nyina se ene modern boa mode share abatu no mu a ene mabedane omampanyin e wo Ghana ha ena moamoba Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman wabedane Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. Yentimi ndamwase na mejidi se nyame ankasa ena beton nshira ato Central Region so. First and foremost, I wish to express my heartfelt appreciation to all of you, Nananum, and indeed the wonderful people of the Central Region for the trust and confidence you have placed in myself and Nana Opoku-Agyeman and our administration to take the reins of government and move our dear nation into a period of prosperity. The support of Central Region was instrumental in bringing us to this moment. I also want to express my profound gratitude to you for making history by giving us your daughter as the history-making first female Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. But let me add that Nana Jane has earned this mark of distinction in her own right, not only because she's a woman. And as she herself said, it is not enough to be the first to go through the door, but what matters most is to hold the door open for others to follow. And I'm sure that she's going to do that so that our sisters and our daughters and mothers will all follow in her footsteps. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, during our campaign, we engaged with communities large and small, and we conversed with our youth, our farmers, our artisans, our elders, our fisher folk. We listened to your concerns, we shared in your hopes, and witnessed the incredible resilience that defines the people of the Central Region. Your support in the elections has affirmed your belief in a Ghana that is united, progressive, and forward-moving. This collective belief in the progress of our dear nation will guide us as we implement the promises we made during our campaign, and we intend to keep our electoral promises. Nananom, the Central Region holds great significance for our nation, not only for its rich history, but also its vital contribution to the development of our dear nation. From the historical forts and castles that stand as a testament to our shared heritage, to being the agricultural heartbeat that feeds many in the length of breadth of this country, and also being the tourism hub, attracting diverse visitors from all over the world, and also at the same time the citadel of education in Ghana, nurturing some of the best minds of our country. The Central Region occupies a special place in Ghana's scheme of things. Your region has contributed immensely to the economic, cultural, and political life of our great country. As President, I also identify as a son of this region and commit to honoring and recognizing its importance, whether in education, infrastructure, healthcare, or economic empowerment. We'll work together to elevate the lives of all those who call this region home. And I can assure you, the people of the Central Region, you will get your fair share of the national cake. Nananom, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you will all agree with me that our campaign success was due to the collective efforts of Ghanaians from all walks of life. We all share a collective responsibility as we embark on this new journey. And I wish to emphasize that I'm a president for all Ghanaians, and I'm committed to fostering unity and inclusivity and ensuring that no region, no community, or no person is left behind. Let us set aside our past divisions and move forward in the spirit of collaboration. Our strength lies in our diversity, and together we will overcome any challenges on our path to progress. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we move into this new chapter, our vision for Ghana remains clear, and we're committed to building a prosperous, peaceful, and sustainable nation. And among the commitments we have made are, number one, job creation, especially for our young people. We will invest in programs and policies that create jobs for our youth and provides opportunities for our farmers, our entrepreneurs, and our workers. Our 24-hour economy plan is designed to enhance production, productivity, and employment by creating an enabling environment for businesses in agro-processing, manufacturing, and construction to employ more people through a 3-shift system. We are committed to infrastructural development of all regions. We'll prioritize the development of critical infrastructure, including roads, schools, healthcare facilities, and electrification projects, and also provide clean drinking water for our people. Late last year, the contract for the first phase of the dualization of the Kaswa-Winneba Road started. Upon completion, this project will facilitate the movement of goods and services and enhance trade. The second phase of this project will be from Winneba roundabout to Mankesem roundabout. And the third phase will be from the Mankesem roundabout to Cape Coast. While phase 1 is ongoing, phase 2 and phase 3 will be packaged and funded under our Big Push program. We also have targeted important roads like the Yamoransa-Praso Road, and then the Cape Coast to Twifo-Praso Road, amongst others. The Mankessim Market is also one of the markets targeted for modernization under our Market Enhancement Program. This morning, we visited the Anumabo Fisheries College, as you were told by the Vice President. It was a dream of our late President, President John Evans Atta Mills. It was packaged and work was started, and it was at an advanced stage of completion for the first phase when we left office. It is unacceptable that for 8 years that project has been abandoned and has not been continued. As I said, the budget is going to be read in March, and we're going to make provision in the budget to continue the project so that by the end of this year, we can open that college for students. Upon completion, the project will be handed over to the University of Cape Coast and will be put under their Faculty of Agriculture to provide degrees in fishing and training in aquaculture. I've asked the Minister of Trade and Agribusiness and Industry to provide me with a status update of the Commander Sugar Factory. We are determined to proceed and continue with that project so that the Central Region will become the biggest producer of sugar in Ghana. We'll also work closely to upgrade the facilities at the Cape Coast Hospital so that it can indeed be a real teaching hospital for the University of Cape Coast Medical School. We know Central Region is the citadel of education, and therefore our reforms in education would affect very much the institutions here in Central Region. Already we've set up the National Education Review Planning Committee that is going to take a look at our whole educational system from the basic level through the secondary to the tertiary, so that we can get quality outcomes for the investments that we're putting into our education. We want our children to be trained for the modern world, to be trained for modern jobs, and to come out with the skills that make them integrate into the world of work. Education will remain a priority, and we'll work to provide the best possible learning environment for our children at all levels, and ensure that our youth have skills needed to compete in the global economy. We plan to improve the free SHS program to secure dedicated funding and decentralize food procurement. Additionally, we'll introduce a no academic fees policy, offering financial aid to continuing students and expand infrastructure for tertiary institutions. In healthcare, we'll continue to improve our hospitals and continue to improve all levels of our healthcare system. We are going to uncap the National Health Insurance Scheme levy so that the full amount of the levy goes to the National Health Insurance Authority so that they can pay facilities for the treatment that is given to people holding National Health Insurance card. We'll prioritize healthcare, and I'll launch a Ghana Medical Care Trust Fund, popularly called Mahama Cares, to assist individuals with chronic diseases like kidney, liver disease, high blood pressure, cardiac problems. And so this Ghana Medical Care Trust Fund would assist to alleviate the cost of treatment. The Central Region is known for its agricultural potential, We'll continue to support our farmers. We'll improve the irrigation schemes and systems that are here and introduce policies to modernize agriculture in this region and beyond. We also plan to provide a 20% allowance on top of basic salary for teachers and health workers who accept postings to rural areas. We want to encourage more of our education and health personnel to accept to serve in rural communities and therefore bridge the developmental gap between the rural and urban areas. I assure you that this government will work tirelessly to ensure that every community across the central region has access to services, to infrastructure, and the opportunities that it needs to grow and thrive. On this auspicious note, therefore, I want to thank you once again, the great people of the central region, for your support and trust and belief in our shared vision for a better Ghana that we can build together. This administration will work for the benefit of all Ghanaians and not just a few. We're not just going to build roads and schools, we're going to build a better future for our children, the next generation and all posterity. But we can't do that without being accountable to the people who voted us into power. And so we're going to implement a very strict system of accountability. And as I said, we will come out with a code of conduct for persons who occupy positions of trust. We are not going to pursue only members of the past regime to account to the people of Ghana. We're going to pursue our own people to make sure that they are held accountable to the people of Ghana. So even as we investigate those who have just left office and we carry out our Operation Retrieve All the Loot, those oral, and we implement Operation Retrieve All the Loot, those who are current office bearers should also know that they will be held to the same standard as we are holding the past regime. After all, they say, Aba yadebo techi, yadebo bang. Next week, the oral committee that I set up is going to present its report to me, and I'll refer it to the investigative organizations to start their investigations against people who have misappropriated the resources of this nation. Together with your support, we will build a Ghana that we can all be proud of, a Ghana where opportunity and prosperity are available to all, regardless of where we live or where we come from. May God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Shall we please stand for the national anthem?
And we've been watching President Mahama on his thank you tour in the central region, making some points tests out there. I mean, fact is a review of the free senior high school policy to design a dedicated funding for the free SHS. And also, he's expecting a report from the group that he set up under Operation Recover All Loot, ORA. He's expecting a report from them next week. And then based on the report, he will ask the investigative bodies in the country to investigate further and possibly put those who are culpable before court. We will take a short break and return with more here on The Pulse. We are back here on The Pulse on Joy News, and of course, I'm seeing a lot of comments on the cocoa discussion that we had, and the fact that people say that galamsey should be dealt with if we want to witness the high production units that we're witnessing, especially between 2017, it peaked at 2020, and now it's come down to 550,000 as at the end of 2024. That's unacceptable, and people say that we should do more to bring it up to a level. But yesterday, we spent quite a number of time on water issues across the country. Now, parts of the country, residents are struggling with severe shortage of pipe-borne water. In the northern, central, Volta, and Greater Accra regions, there have been they've been forced to rely on underground water sources for their daily needs. And you know the challenge with using underground water. Meanwhile, in the Ashanti region, frustrated residents have been sharing their plight as the crisis deepens.
So na yenya no
because of the water situation, the kids are unable to go to school early.
The challenge back when saying, oh, bad 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
And so anyone did, how can see a pan? If we say, I'm going to go to school in town. Lights no more do so because of in the pipe.
The government should do something about the power situation, which is impacting the water flow.
But I'm off for me entry. In the best man paying, sell light off and we're out of what the which is a pint of one, but in there, maybe I'm a one and we hear me. You would see lights in a pa, Yamenu Crane, and then the sea pipe we are running and talk at you. The Salama, Munya lights will be my. I'm buying solo, a boy at a
We are unable to get water to bathe because it's intermittent. We have to trek before we can get water. It's been 2 weeks now that we residents at Tafu have been able to get water. This place doesn't readily have homes constructing boreholes, so water is a real challenge for us.
Obi so kwa ho hia mu nsuo ho a ebe ma na nya nsuo ni bi so ho nti aho kire de kobi mu pa
eza hanya pa teta nya papi a obi atunu ha ya na nka ya bra ye nsuo kopa tese me na ya me ya se obi ba na mapa na twa no akasa ba akwa be na chichi se do ya akono wonko.
So those are voices from parts of Kumasi in the Ashanti region, specifically Tafu in the Ashanti region. Now the situation is almost the same in some parts of the central region, the Volta region, the northern region, and of course the Bono region. Yesterday we had our correspondents join us from the northern region, the Volta region, even in Tema, where people are complaining about the fact that they are not getting the water, even when they have. It is so the pressure is so low that it is unable to get in the water that they need. Thankfully, we are joined in the studio by the manager in charge of public relations for the Ghana Water Company Limited, Stanley Mate. Mr. Mate, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So let's start from the Ashanti region, Kumasi, because of the voices we heard.
Yeah.
What is going on, especially in the Tafu area?
Okay, so it's an internal or just localized challenges within that area. In Ashanti region or the Kumasi metropolis, we serve them via 2 treatment plants, Owabi and then the Barakesi treatment plants. Now, both treatment plants are functioning
100%.
Yes, 100% without any challenge. But because of the localized challenge within that area, that is why they're having problems. We are working at it. It's just one of our transmission lines into that area that is faulty, and we are working seriously at it, and we're hoping that within the very near future, in a day or two, we should be able to complete that, and then the situation will normalize. So generally, we'll plead with them to bear with us. These things are bound to happen, especially pipe bursts, because most of our pipelines are quite old. What we are doing now is to change them, because it's capital intensive to change everything. We are changing them in phases. So we'll plead with the general public to bear with us whilst we do that.
So generally, you will say that production is okay in the Ashanti region?
Production is okay in Ashanti. In Ashanti region itself, there's also a gap between demand and supply. We are not unable to meet the demand of the people. So we do a demand management, but it's far better.
In terms of percentage-wise,
yes.
Production, what will you say?
Around 75%.
And that's quite good.
So it's far better compared to other regions. And we manage the program very well, except when there are these minor challenges. And then some of the contractors also do not help. When they damage
those who are constructing roads,
yes,
they damage your pipelines.
They damage our pipelines, and then
usually when it happens like that, is it their responsibility to repair it or what?
They're supposed to be working together with us, but some of them do not. I mean, they do it without recourse to us, and then when it so happens, they wouldn't even inform you on time. Now, because they are also constructing, even if there's a pipe burst, and we also have to come around to repair, it becomes a challenge because we need to work together, ensure that the pipeline is well relocated so that they can also do their job. Now, with the construction too, most of the roads are being a bit extended. So it means that we have to extend our pipelines. We have to take advantage of that to also change the pipelines and then to do
and talking about that, I know that there's major construction works at the Swami area, the interchange, and I know that most of the pipes in Kumasi goes through that area. Does it mean that you've done relocation of the pipes?
Yes, we have a major reservoir in Swami, our offices in Swami that serves the metropolis. Okay, so when the transmission line from that area into town is affected, then it means that
a lot of people will be out.
Yeah, a lot of people will be out there.
But intermittent power supply, how is that affecting operations in the Ashanti?
That is also because we depend solely on the grid, on the national grid. So it's either a GridCo or ECG, and so anytime they are off, then we are also affected because we can't power our equipment with generators. No,
you don't have the resources.
No, there's no prudent at all. It's not about the resources, but there's no prudent at all. And then, our pumps are such that they need stable power. Right. Now, when you are using a plant, you can get a stable power to fluctuate. Anytime there's fluctuation, then there'll be a surge also, or there'll be a trip off of the pumps. And then everything goes off, and then you have to rework out the whole thing and all that. So it's not too prudent to use generators. So we have to depend on the national grid. Even with the national grid, we are very careful as to how we can have a stable power. So we use automatic voltage regulators. These are very expensive.
To stabilize it at a level you want.
Exactly. So that's how we are managing the situation.
All right, so Mr. Stanley Mate is with the Ghana Water Company.
Ghana Water Limited.
Ghana Water Company Limited is general manager.
We extracted or deleted the company.
Right.
So Ghana Water Limited.
Right. So general manager in charge of public relations. So if you are not having with us, it's a good time to let me know where you are so that I can put that question to him. Volta region, what is happening there?
Yeah, when I go here, the first question you asked me was about the new manager.
The new manager director, Adam Wakilu.
Yes. His first day in office was somewhere last week. We met with staff, and so this week we were supposed to start working in earnest. And on Monday, straight we had to move to the Volta region, the Peve area, where our treatment plant that serves the whole municipality is sited. We met chiefs from the Asogli State, the Peve area, chiefs from those areas, and people from that area, and people from the metropolis. Okay, and then the political leaders as well. All the MPs in that area were present. The regional minister was also present, and we had a fruitful interaction at the place. It was quite a big deba. We were not expecting that, but I mean, it happened.
Quite clearly,
we're happy to meet the people. So we gave them the solutions to the problem.
But what is the problem first?
So the problem is, the plant was built in 1993. So it's quite old. The equipments are quite old. But because of our maintenance schedules, we are able to manage the pumps, or been able to manage the pumps up to this time. But somewhere last
about 30 years.
Yeah. Somewhere last year we started having challenges with it. So one breaks down, we repair it, and then another one breaks down a week after, 3 days after. So we realized that no, the lifespan were due. So it was important that we get new ones. So we've gone through the process of acquiring new pumps to replace the old ones. So I think last week or so, all three broke down and now beyond repairs. So there's nothing that we can do than to replace.
The reason why water is not coming.
Yes. So we're hoping that the new ones are going to get in before a challenge like this. Unfortunately, the new ones are not in, and all three are broken down. Wow. So we needed a short-term solution so that the people can have water. And so in our interaction, we made them aware of our strategy, that we're going to get some pumps from elsewhere, fix them immediately.
On an interim basis.
Yeah.
Whilst we wait for the
medium term, which is the new pumps somewhere in March, middle of March. We are hoping that all things being equal, by April we should be able to fix everything, and then we'll have enough water flow into the system. Now, the long-term solution is the Who expansion project, which Honorable Adam
Mutawakilu,
yes, made everybody aware that the president is really committed to that project. You know, the Volta region is also a special area for the president, and so then he's really committed to that. So he's assured the people of the Volta region, the chiefs and everybody, political leaders, that that is going to come on. So we are going to start in earnest with.
And my understanding is that this new pump you are bringing in is costing you over $50 million.
I wouldn't want to give any figure now, but the pumps are quite expensive and they are custom made. They are customized. The pumps are the sizes. And then the specifications of our pumps are such that you can't just walk onto the shelf and buy it. So we need to send the specifications to them.
And then they construct it for you.
And they construct it. Meanwhile, we have to go through the procurement process.
Right.
You understand? You have to go through all these things. Get your specifications. After all the procurement processes, which takes a long time, you get your specifications, then you send it to a manufacturer, then they do it, and then they ship it into the system. But we are hoping that this time around, instead of shipping, we'll fly them in, because of the urgency of the situation. To be quite expensive though, and that is why I don't want to mention any figure, because there'll be a lot of things that will not be done in the normal way, so that we can have the situation fixed as early as practicable. So,
but why wasn't steps taken knowing very well that the pump you had, its lifespan was running out?
One, it is money, and then two, we have started the process, but we didn't expect that
all three will go down.
All three will go down around this time. Okay, so that is why we apologize to everybody that people should bear with us. We never expected this situation. Okay, but we have managed it effectively, and like I said, we're on top of the situation. Now there are a lot of measures in place. Okay, we are serving the people now with tankers, although it's not the best.
It's an interim measure.
Yeah,
but the new pumps that you want to bring in now to hold the situation until the one you requested.
Yeah, we are fixing. We are still in the process of fixing. We are hoping that
it's not yet
latest by tomorrow morning. We are going to work until we are done. So if you have to work through the night, we'll work through all the night and ensure that everything is fixed, and then we'll start pumping into the system. So we are hopeful that later by Saturday, Sunday, water should get into the metropolis. It may not be enough. But
that was the question I was coming to. Whether it will be able to perform the work that the dysfunctional one was performing.
What we are going to get with the tankers, so that the areas that are going to get low pressures or are not going to get at all are still going to be saved by the tankers. And we are pushing in more tankers. As I speak, there are about 6 tankers that are working now. We have called for more. We are calling even private tankers to come in. National Security is also going to support us with more tankers, so that we can ensure that at least the situation, the impact of the situation is not felt to the detriment of especially the health of the people.
So when it starts, are you going to ration, or is it going to be like have it for 2 days and go off for 2 days so that people can plan their lives very well?
Because it is not enough, and even with the full capacity of the Peve treatment plant now, we are unable to meet population. Ghana population is increasing in Ghana all the time. So even with Peve in a full capacity, currently we are not unable to meet the demand. So we are rationing. So with this new pumps that are going to come on board, it is because it's the same treatment plant and the same capacity, we may still not be able to meet the demand. So we'll do the demand management. But when the long-term solution, which is the whole water treatment, the whole water expansion project, when that one comes on board,
and when are you hoping that will come on board?
It all depends on finances. Now there's a new government. We need to start everything, talk to them about it. And like I said, our managing director made us aware that the president is really committed to that project. So we are hoping that some priority will be given to that. But you know something, even the chiefs are even ready to help us in any way, whether it's about funding to procure a pump or whatever. And that is a very good sign. And so we are all going to work together, the Ghana Water Limited, our political leaders, and then the traditional leaders, and ensure that the situation is solved. But we are all happy about the commitment from
the chiefs and the people.
Yes.
So the assurance this afternoon is that hopefully by Saturday or Sunday, they should begin to see water flow to their taps.
Yes, we are hopeful. We are hopeful. And like I said, until water gets into the metropolis, we are not going to sleep. So whatever we are doing to get water into the place will be done continuously until water gets into the system.
The people. All right. Yesterday, we got similar complaints from Tema, Kwabede 25, for example. Yeah. They are not getting water. And even when they have, the pressure is so low that, I mean, it can't work.
Elton, I'll keep apologizing to Ghanaians that they should bear with us. We're sorry about the situation. One, we're the dry season, and we all know that in the dry season we are faced with these challenges. Most people resort to tap water, so there's a lot of pressure on the tap water, so pressures are low. Unfortunately, we are also faced with challenges from the, let's say, our desalination plant.
Right.
Accra is served from 3 sources: the desalination plant, the Kpong, and then the water treatment plant. Now, when any of them is off, it affects the system entirely. Now, the desalination has not been operating optimally. Okay, so it's affecting water into the Teshinwa area. So now we are forced to share the little water that comes from Kpong between Tema, Springtech, and then the eastern or central part of Accra. So it's a serious challenge, but we are managing the situation, and that is why the pressures are low. Now we are pushing this thing, the desal, to do more, and we are hoping that that should ease the situation. But the dry season is really
what the issue is
affecting us. And Committee 25, for instance, is getting to the tail end of the distribution main from the Oponglo area, and you know it goes to Pram and all those areas. So we still have to even push water beyond Committee 25 into Pram. So it is a bit very difficult. We laid some line from Afenya, that area, into the Pram and then the Committee 25 area. Okay, and then after that we are seeing more development. Anytime water goes into a certain area, you find that development springs up. Okay, and then we start the T-ops and all that, and then reduces the pressure at the tail end. So we'll ask Ghanaians to bear with us. Okay, and it's not also only in Accra. We are facing same challenges because of the dry season in other regions. For instance, in the northern region in Tamale.
I mean, I've gotten so many text messages from the northern region. I said last year, having a dispute with the state on the floor, there were so many assurances. Here, the situation is, somebody said 2 years.
So when we give the assurance, we give assurance based on what
is available.
What prevails. And at the time, we're faced with the challenge of sun winning in the Dallon River, in the Nowini River, sorry. In the dry season, when the levels go down, what happens is that they win the alluvial sand. So when that is done, it's not too different from Galamsey.
Right.
When that is done, it turbid's the water, makes the water turbid. Because you see stone and sand particles mix up with the water, so turbidity is very high. And then even when we abstract the water for treatment, we lose about 30 to 40% of the water that we have spent energy to abstract. So if you abstract, let's say, 10,000 cubic meters, and then you lose about 4,000 cubic meters, that 6,000 may not be enough for the people.
Absolutely.
We did a lot of work in Tamale. Now, in Tamale, we have some high-rise reservoirs, so that when we treat the water from Dallon, we pump into these reservoirs, and then we release them by gravity, so it can go farther. It can go further away from this and serve. So we're able to serve more people. Now, at the time, we were faced the challenge of the high-rise reservoirs. They all got faulty. But we had to spend a lot of money to repair them. And we knew that when we are done with the repairs, we'll be able to fill them up and the water can get to more places. And that is what happened a year ago and then last 2 years. So we solved the challenge. Now the reservoir is working, but we are not getting enough water.
Because of the dryness of the
exactly.
area.
So it's a different situation currently as we speak. And we'll ask them, we'll plead with them to bear with us. Now there's a lot of illegal connections also in that area. People are using inline
for Ghana water.
Yeah, within the Tamale metropolis.
Even though one would say that, I mean, water bill isn't so much that people must do illegal connection to.
Exactly, but people are one, they're stealing the water. Two, if you use the inline pumps to siphon the water from the line, the pressures are such that even your neighbor may not get until your pump is off. So if several people are using the pumps within an area, a lot more people won't get. And that is what we plead with the Tamale people. And then the opinion leaders, the leaders within the Tamale metropolis, should help the Ghana Water Company Limited so that all those challenges will be addressed. If, for instance, nobody is using an inline pump, but just relying on the pressures within our lines, a lot more people will get and we will have the challenge. All right.
We are wrapping up. Quickly, Central Region, has there been improvement on your raw water source after you made that public announcement last year?
Yes, and even quite recently, I think a few days ago, His Excellency the President also made that call, and thankfully there's been rains in the last few days as well, so we've seen some improvement. Now last week we were producing around, for instance, our Sachaheman treatment plant was producing around 9,000 cubic meters on a daily basis. Just yesterday, we've been able to make to hit 17,000 cubic meters.
From 9,000 to 17,000, almost doubling it.
Yes, and so we are monitoring the production for today and then the coming days. So there's been a lot of improvement.
What about the cost of treating the water?
The cost of treatment is based on the turbidity.
Right.
So if turbidity is high, then we use more chemicals and then the cost will go high. If turbidity is low, we use less chemicals and then that challenge will be a thing of the past. That is why we keep telling the people that now if you look at the tariff regime, if cost of production comes down, it will impact positively on the tariff. The tariff will come down.
Right.
But if cost of production goes high,
we'll have to pass it on.
Exactly. So if we all want to have less tariffs, then let's all get ourselves involved in the fight against pollution of our river bodies.
Mr. Martin, before you go final ways.
The Ghana Water Company Limited is doing everything possible, working hard to ensure that Ghanaians have water. Our lives is water for the people. So please bear with us when there are challenges. But we also want the people to help us, Ghanaians to help us. For instance, we're the dry season now. Our expectation is that people will use the little water flowing now judiciously, wisely, so that at least we can still build on the pressures in the lines for more people to get. But if around this time, maybe by virtue of your location, you are getting water regularly, and you are just watering your lawns, you leave your pipe holes or you leave your sprinklers, just like that, it will affect the pressures in the lines, so that those who are further away may not be able to get the water. So we entreat everybody to bear with the situation. The rains will set in soon, so leave your flowers for now. Let your neighbors get water for consumption, especially for health purposes, so that at least these things will cease. And then payment of bills. We rely solely on our revenue that we collect.
And that comes from payment of bills.
Exactly. So if people do not pay their bills, it becomes a bit difficult. Now, we have made it very easy for all our customers. You can pay through Momo, you can pay through our app. Now we even have a code, *1010#, very simple process. And then in the comfort of your homes, you can pay your bills. Let's stop stealing the water.
Very important.
Water is cheap.
Very important.
So let's stop stealing, okay? And let's stop embarrassing ourselves when we are caught. Because now we also have task forces with the law enforcement agencies. Okay. And then we arrested your neighbors who realize that this is what you've done, or you'll be sent to court, you'll be in the newspapers or in the media and all that. So let us avoid that. Water is cheap. Let's do the right thing. Visit the nearest GWL office, and then we'll have your system regularized. And then you just pay little money at the end of the month, and then that's it.
Mr. Stanley Mate is General Manager in charge of Public Relations with Ghana Water Limited. And thank you so much for coming through to us.
Grateful for
right. So we'll stay a lot longer with issues relating to utilities. And we are now 2 days into the scheduled, plant maintenance of, if you like, the West African gas, shut down the West African gas pipeline for maintenance. That the closure set to start, last for 4 weeks, is expected to halt operations for several power producers, raising concerns about energy supply. So how is the assessment work progressing? Joining me on Zoom to provide update is the Corporate Affairs Manager of WAPCO, Dr. Isaac Ajay Duku. Dr. Duku, so everything is set for tomorrow? If you can unmute for me, Doctor. Yes, Dr. Duku, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear. So you're all ready and set to shut down for 4 weeks beginning tomorrow?
Yes, actually the operation started yesterday. Was when officially we started the shutdown process. However, the shutting down of what we call the laterals, the pipelines that take the gas to Cotonou, Lomé, and Tema will close tomorrow.
So I'm looking at impacts as far as your contribution to the country's power source or mix is concerned. To what extent, how much are you taking away with this shutdown?
In Tema, in general, I think Greek will be in the best position, but I believe that in Tema, the total generation may be close to, if not more than 1,000 megawatts. I believe also that the good news is that most of the plants in Tema are dual fuel, which means that they can use either gas or liquid fuels. So given the advance notice that we gave to the government, once the pipeline is shut down, I believe the government have made arrangement for the alternate fuel, which is the liquid fuels, which may be the light crude oil or DFO, distillate fuel oil, or the heavy fuel oil, to be used by the plants that are dual fired. So yes, maybe an impact, but I don't think it will be that major impact, given that alternate arrangements have been made for other fuels that can be used by the power plants.
Because of doing so and its impacts on our lives and of course on the economy, any word regarding shutdown, creates an environment of fear among Ghanaians? And the question I'm getting, text messages I'm getting, the people are asking whether can this be avoided? To what extent will this impact your operations if this shutdown is not done immediately?
Let me take it from this point that we may have our own vehicles and we don't run our vehicles indefinitely. Otherwise, one day you'll be driving the vehicle and the engine will just cease. So we do regular maintenance, change our oil, top our water and everything to make sure that the vehicle serves us well. In the same way, when it comes to the pipeline, we are required by regulation that every 5 years we have to do a major maintenance on the pipeline that we have. And so if you remember, 5 years ago, we did a maintenance in 2020, January, and so the 5 years are for us to do the maintenance. And so it's those preventive maintenance that we do that keeps the integrity of the pipeline to ensure that we can continue to flow gas safely and efficiently to all our customers.
And you are certain that this won't go beyond 4 weeks?
We are certain, and that is our hope, because we base the length of time that we'll be doing the shutdown on how we do the cleaning. Through the pipeline, we introduce an instrument called the Pipeline Inspection Gauge. For short, we call it the PIG, and therefore what we call the pigging. And so this PIG, when it's introduced at our compression station in Lagos, it takes about 4 to 5 days to get to Takoradi.
Right.
And for each cleaning cycle, we may have to send about between 4 and 6 to clean the pipeline. And so looking at the duration that it takes the pig to travel within the pipeline, that actually determines how the length of time that you actually need. So the 4 weeks is based on the number of pigs that we want to introduce into the pipeline from Lagos,
right,
including the pipeline, and finally the intelligent pig, which actually gathers the data in the pipeline after the cleaning. That is why we gave that, we requested for the duration of 4 weeks to be able to undertake the cleaning and inspection of the line.
Hopefully, we'll speak more on this matter as the shutdown is expected tomorrow. Dr. Duku, thank you so much for your time this afternoon here on the Pulse. Before we go, tension is escalating among NDC supporters in the Ashaman constituency over what they term the party's failure to appoint their MP Ernest Nogbe as minister. Frustrated party members staged a protest last night voicing their dissatisfaction. Less than 24 hours later, the unrest intensified as protesters stormed the constituency party office this morning, vandalizing property in a bid to demand their MP's appointment. Now, this is what happened this morning when they decided to take the laws into their own hands and then to demand that their MP, Mr. Nogbe, is appointed a Minister of State in the Mahama administration. Gordon Chumasi is joining me on Zoom for a brief chat on this matter. Godwin, good afternoon and welcome. Why have you taken this stance? And if you can unmute for me.
Yes, good afternoon and good afternoon to your cherished viewers. I think what happened today in Ashaman is not exactly what is being portrayed by the media. So yesterday, there were attempts by residents to demonstrate for government not giving appointment to anybody in Ashaman. But when leadership heard about it, a lot of effort were put in it to prevent the demonstration. So this morning, we went to talk to them to disperse, especially when we had wind that they were going to block the motorway and the number of ties they wanted to burn. We knew the police was definitely not going to permit that, and it was going to lead to a clash.
Right.
So after the engagement, the people dispersed, but a few of them decided to go to their party office to accuse the chairman of not doing enough to facilitate appointment of residents in Ashama. So we rushed there, engaged them, a few hash talk here and there, but it's not as bad as it's being portrayed that Ashama people had gone on demonstrations and stuff. So that was what happened, and thankfully, I think the thing has been largely brought under control, and everybody is happy.
So you have assurance that their demands will be met?
We don't have any assurance, but we believe that what is being said is that since 1992, no individual, not even a single person in Ashama constituency has ever been given appointment. It has always been MC and MP. I think we went as far as getting our former member of parliament as the deputy majority leader, but since then we've never had any appointment. And that is the grievance. But we are telling them that if there is anyone that can change the situation, then it's going to be John Mahama.
All right.
And they must also bear in mind that the president is only appointing 16 ministers. He has to consider tribal balance, regional balance, constituency balance, and all of that. So we should appreciate the difficulty in which the president has it. So it's a matter of trusting him, believing him that the assurances that he's giving us when he came to Ashama, he's going to live by
live up to expectation.
So
right.
No assurance, but we trust and believe in the president.
Right, Godwin, let's leave it here. We'll continue with this discussion much in other bulletins. But that's our show for today. For more stories, log on to our website, myjoyonline.com. We have very compelling stories there for you. Until then, tomorrow, same time, we shall be here another exciting edition of the Pulse here on Jordan. Whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope it's profitable. My name is Elton Bobby. Have a good evening and take care.